Now for the lateral parts of the middle cranial base, we have it is formed by the greater wings of the sphenoid, by the petrous and squamous parts of the temporal bones laterally. Now to just describe uh, what I mean, because you can't really see it here, you cannot see, it's not separated between squamous and petrous. This part of the temporal bone, this right here, this where the line is, the anterior part from the line, this is considered to be the squamous part of the temporal bone. Squamous is flat, so this is considered to be the flat part of the temporal bone. Let me just show you from the outside. This here, this is considered to be the flat part of the temporal bone. Now beyond the line, or posterior to the line, this line here, we will have the rocky part of the temporal bone, also known as the petrous part of the temporal bone. So it is split into two: flat, petrous, and both of those articulate with the greater wing of the sphenoid. Keep it simple and clear, just these two parts. uh, and one more thing, uh, that is, yeah, that's pretty much all that there is to know about the middle cranial fossa. Now, to end the middle cranial fossa, to border the middle cranial fossa posteriorly, we have the, one second, I want to just make it in the center. We have the superior border of the petrous ridge of the temporal bone, right here. This, if you can just follow the mouse, if you can see where the mouse is going, this over here, this is known as the petrous ridge, or it is the superior border of the petrous part of the temporal bone. This is the, let's say, line that separates the middle and posterior cranial fossa. Once you reach that, anything beyond that is the posterior cranial fossa. Anything front to that is the, or anterior to that is the middle cranial fossa. Moving on to all the foramina that are in the middle cranial fossa, and this is the middle cranial fossa is the most filled with holes. It is the most filled with foramina because it is the center. So the center mostly is the, you know, I'm trying to get it across on why it's filled with holes. I hope you guys understood what I'm trying to say. So there are four foramina that perforate only the roots of the greater wings of the sphenoid. These foramina include the superior orbital fissure. I will show you just in a second if I can get it. No, I don't want the optic foramina. I want the superior orbital fissure is right here, by the way. It's like, it's not, aha, there, see, right here. Okay, see this hole, this big hole, it's a fissure. It's not a foramen. A foramen, circular, small. This is a fissure. This is huge. This is big. And if you look to the front from your eye, see, one second, this is the fissure. This is the superior orbital fissure, this one. Through this passes the ophthalmic nerve, which is part 1 of the trigeminal, V1 also known as, cranial nerve 3, 4, and 6. I do not want you guys to remember these now because I'm not explaining them in detail, but just for you guys to know for future. As well as the ophthalmic veins. So ophthalmic veins, ophthalmic nerve, and cranial nerve 3, 4, and 6 all pass through superior orbital fissure. Just know that this is the superior orbital fissure, because in the future when we go through the nerves, we will be passing through these foramens and fissures a lot, so you need to know them. They're very important anatomically. Then we have the foramen rotundum. In the foramen rotundum passes the maxillary nerve. See the foramen rotundum? It is right here. It's small, it's cute, it's in the middle between the body and the greater wing. If you go below the rotundum, so we have the superior orbital fissure, go down, we have the rotundum, go down from the rotundum, right here, we will have the foramen ovale. For some reason it is not highlighted. Yes, not highlighted. This is the ovale. Sorry. Yeah, no, that's the foramen spinosum. Yeah, this is, no, that's the internal acoustic. Yeah, correct. This is the foramen spinosum. This is optic foramen. This is foramen rotundum. This is spinosum. Let me just show you like this. Wait, this is spinosum. Wait 1 second, sorry.
A few moments later.
All right, sorry. Technical difficulties again. Just I've checked sources and I cannot really figure out what this is. If any of you guys know, please let me know because I have checked the book, I have checked the internet. I cannot figure out what this little hole is because the order goes rotundum, ovale, spinosum. That is how it goes. That's what's present everywhere. What this is, I'm not sure. And this here, this is the lacerum. So to remove all confusion, starting from the top, we have the superior orbital fissure. Going down, we have the rotundum. Rotundum, we said, is for the maxillary nerve. Ovale, right here. Skip this. Rotundum. I'm pretty sure this is just an artifact or some sort of, let's say, typo in the 3D projection. This is the ovale, and for the ovale, we have the mandibular nerve and the accessory nerves all pass through here. And we have the foramen spinosum, which is for the middle meningeal arteries and veins and the middle meningeal branch of cranial nerve V3. Again, do not memorize what passes. You will get them once you see the nerves, and once we go through the description of the nerves, it will all make sense. Right now, just remember we have the superior optical fissure. We have a superior orbital fissure, sorry, superior orbital fissure. We have the foramen rotundum, foramen ovale, and foramen spinosum. Spinosum is the biggest word, yet it is the tiniest hole of all three. If you look here, spinosum is very small. Rotundum is larger than spinosum. And an artifact that is present in a skull of an adult male, we have the foramen lacerum. Now, usually for adults, foramen lacerum is filled with cartilage. It is not at all present. It is not open in a living human being. But after you cut their heads off and peel them apart and open them up, you will have a hole there, and that is the foramen lacerum. So then we have the optic canal. That is the, so we said first one is superior orbital fissure, second one is foramen rotundum, third ovale, fourth spinosum. All those are in the greater wing of the sphenoid. Moving away from the greater wing of the sphenoid, we have the foramen lacerum right here. And moving farther away, we have the optic canal. Optic canal, or the optic foramen, if you can figure it out on your own, is for the optic nerve. It goes straight from your eyes and it passes through here. Yeah, it is very ironic that the superior orbital fissure, which is the biggest, does not actually take or the optic nerve. The optic foramen takes the optic nerve. So keep in mind that they are two different holes for two different things. They are not the same. They do not work together. That is for the ophthalmic vein, ophthalmic nerve, and this is for the optic nerve. Okay. Now, with that, we would have finished the middle cranial fossa. Moving posteriorly to the posterior cranial fossa, which is composed only of the occipital and temporal bones, mostly of the occipital and temporal bones. And from now, to keep drawing, we said we have here the petrous ridge. If you remember, we have the petrous ridge, which separates the middle and posterior cranial fossa. From there, from the dorsum sellae, from the dorsum sellae, it's right here. From the dorsum sellae, if you move downwards, if you keep going down to this big ass hole over here, this hole right here, this hole, my friends, is the foramen magnum. This foramen magnum is for your spinal cord and medulla and everything, all the big stuff, to go through to your brain, because it's one part. You can't really disconnect them and connect them. It's not Bluetooth. So moving from the dorsum sellae to the foramen magnum, this whole slide, let's say the slope, has a name. The name is clivus. Yes, C-L-I-V-U-S, clivus. It is just this region, a slope-like region, going downwards towards the foramen magnum from the dorsum sellae. Now, moving backwards away from the clivus and the dorsum sellae and the foramen magnum. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, okay. On the inside, the internal surface of the occipital bone, right here. See? This is again not labeled. Is it labeled? It is labeled. Amazing. We have the internal occipital protuberance superiorly. This one. Sorry. Hey, yeah, there. The internal occipital protuberance, and we have the internal occipital crest. 1 second. Again, come on. Oh, 1 second. It's not. It's not locating. Yeah, there. The internal occipital crest. This is not touching for some reason. Okay. The internal occipital crest is, let's say, the line. How we have the frontal crest, same as front, same as back. We have the internal occipital crest, which divides the occipital bone into left and right sides. Or, in other names, it divides it into two cerebellar fossae. What is the two cerebellar fossae? Cerebellum means brain. So this line divides the left and right parts of the skull for the brain. Now, the brain itself is divided into left and right sides. This bone does not have anything to do with the tissue of the brain. This is just purely for the bone to separate it into left and right parts for the brain to sit in very comfortably in its grooves like a piece of a puzzle going straight into its place. Make sense? Then we have the groove for the transverse sinus. Again, that's part of the sinuses of the brain, and the groove for the sagittal sinus. Fair enough? These are all the grooves and lines that are present on the internal surface of the occipital bone. Again, I want you guys to remember on the uh, external surface of the occipital bone, we have the external occipital protuberance. Here we have the internal occipital protuberance. Fair enough? So, uh, what else do we have? Oh, yeah. Let me just turn it around. I need to go backwards, that's why. So, from the foramen magnum, if you want to start from the foramen magnum and talk about the foramen that's situated in the posterior, let's say, cranial base, we have the. Uh, okay, I'm just gonna name them all and then I will label them out. Foramen magnum, which is the largest over here, the jugular foramen, which is this one. Now, this one right here, even though its name is just jugular foramen, it does not just carry the jugular vein, sadly. It carries a lot of, let's say, vessels and nerves. It carries cranial nerve 9, 10, 11, and the superior bulb of the internal jugular vein. So, jugular vein and cranial nerves 9, 10, and 11 all pass through the jugular foramen. Then we have the hypoglossal canal, which is this one right here. This in the occipital bone, anterior to the anterior portion of the foramen magnum, we have the hypoglossal canal. This one. And in the 1 second, let me rotate it a little bit more. Here, this is known as the condylar canal, which is used for the an emissary vein that passes through the condyles of the occiput. And we have the mastoid foramen. Let me locate the mastoid foramen for you guys so you can see it. 1 second, turn it outside. This is the external acoustic meatus. This over here, this little hole. Let me zoom in. This little hole. It's not touching. Oh, it's not. It's not labeled. Is it labeled from the outside? No, just the mastoid itself is labeled from the outside. On the mastoid, in the mastoid press, or near the mastoid region, we have this little pore, this little hole. 1 second, it's not working. This little hole. This little hole, my good friends, is known as the mastoid foramen, which is important for the mastoid emissary vein. So, this one, mastoid foramen, the internal acoustic meatus, the foramen magnum, the jugular foramen, the hypoglossal canal, and the condylar canal. These are all the, let's say, foramina that are present, foramen and canals that are present in the posterior part of the cranial base. Now, for a quick, let's say, sort of reminder on the, not reminder, mnemonic, sorry, a quick mnemonic for you guys to remember the foramen. This only covers the some of the middle and some of the posterior. Old rotund owls spin lazily across jugs. Old is for optic, rotund is for rotundum, simple. Owls is for ovale, spin is spinosum, lazily is lacerum, across is uh, acoustic, internal acoustic, which is in the posterior, which we just said right here, this orange one, internal acoustic. Sorry, internal acoustic, and jugs is the jugular foramen. So that is a small mnemonic to help you remember the most important of the processes, foramen and canals. However, the rest I have described, also pay attention to those, but these ones in the mnemonic are the most important, and they are the most crucial and critical when it comes to the anatomy of the base of the skull. That is the end of the base of the skull. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry if this video is going to be a bit long, but I've tried to make it as simple as possible and as compact as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Love you guys. Take care, and see you guys later. Goodbye.